With a basic understanding of CSS and the help of the developer tools in the Chrome browser and a code editor like Eclipse, we can make styling changes with a huge visual impact in our child theme quickly and easily. It's all a matter of understanding the work process and working systematically through these changes step by step. In this movie, I'm going to take you through the process of changing the header of the site to look like our design mockup. We're going to use the tools at our disposal to change the style sheet and thereby some key layout elements of the site. What I'm showing you is the basic process most developers use to troubleshoot and get this kind of work done quickly and efficiently. It's not the only method, but it's one that works really well. This is just a demo, so you don't have to play along unless you really want to. We'll reset all this by the end of this movie. If we take a look at the design mockup in your exercise files, you'll see that we have a lot of interesting content and it looks really different from the original parent theme. But if we put them side by side, you'll see a lot of this content is actually very similar. It's just looking different than it did before. For instance, we still have the header image here. We've lost the title, but we also have the menu. Although the menu looks quite different, it has these subtitles and it's green instead of black and white. It's still the same type of menu. If we scroll down, you'll see that at the bottom, we still have a footer. But instead of the 2010 theme where the footer shows the title of the site and then the WordPress logo, our footer shows a menu and a copyright. Likewise, we still have a sidebar, but the sidebar is split into separate boxes. So how do we get to this point? It's all about styles. And I'll show you something really cool. Styles are what actually defines what the site looks like. Without styles, it's just all text and images. And changing styles is actually very easy. If you go to the child themes code snippets that are in your exercise files, and you simply copy out all the styles under 2.2 all the way down to access, not including access, and then you go to your code editor and just paste them in, save it, and go to your browser and reload the page, you'll see we made some fundamental changes to the site by simply adding new style code. Now I know what you're going to ask unless you're a certified expert on CSS. How do you get from what you had before to what you have now? Or rather, how do you actually find out what kind of style code you need to use to get to this point? Well, I'll show you by restyling the menu. Because as you can see, the menu right now is jamming to the very top of a window. But I want it to be down here, and I also want the buttons to be much bigger. So what I'm going to do is use the Chrome developer tools in a combination with Eclipse to slowly implement incremental change to the style code to make sure I get what I want. First, I'm going to fire up the developer tools, Control-Shift-I, and then select the element I want to change. So I'll go to the magnifying glass and hit one of the menu buttons. Here on the bottom, you see all the tags that connect to that element I just clicked on. And you see everything gets highlighted as we go down. When I hover over the div ID axis, you see that that's what's actually containing the entire menu. So that's what we want to start working with. On the right side here, we can see axis highlighted. And if I scroll down, we see the entire style. What I'm going to do now is change the access style so that it matches with our design. I'm going to do this in the Chrome developer tools first to make sure that it looks the way I want it to, and then I'll copy it into our actual style sheet. To do that, I'll simply start adding new style code inside the original style. So first I want to change the background color of the actual menu to white. So I'll simply add a new line and say background, and then set the code for white, which is #FFFFFF. And the color will now be white, although you can't see it. More importantly, you see how I added a new background style, and that automatically overrides the old background style. This is that cascade I was talking about earlier at work, where whatever is at the bottom has more precedence than whatever is higher up in the system. Next, I want to change the margin. If we look at the actual design, we'll see that there's a margin at the bottom here, and there's also a little margin at the top. And I want to make sure that that is carried over in my design. Now you see we already have a margin here. It's called 0 and auto. That means that 0 is top and bottom, and auto is left and right. What I'm going to do is add a 5-pixel margin at the top. So I need to redefine margin and set top to 5 pixels, right to auto, bottom to 0, and left to auto. Next, I have to change the width. As you see, the width is defined as 940 pixels, but the site's R design is 980 pixels. So I'll simply add a new width and set it to 980 pixels. Again, you won't see that change until the entire menu is complete, but that's important. Now, I'm going to change the position, because right now, the menu is at the very top, and I want it to position down here. So I'm going to use absolute positioning again to pull the entire menu down. I'll say position, absolute. And now we get the white background because we're now lifting the menu out of the entire system and putting it at the very top. And then I want to position it. So I'll set bottom to 0. And that's because then it jams to the bottom of the entire box. So now it's down here. And I'll set the height to 86 pixels. So now the menu items are actually the height I want them, but they're still not entirely correct. I need to do changes to some other style code as well. So I'm going to go copy out this code first. So I'll highlight the code that I made a change to, copy it, and then make a new style called #access inside Eclipse. So I'll scroll towards the bottom, just say #access. I'll paste in that code, save it, because now when I reload the page, we now have all that new style code in place. And you noticed how I only copied out the code I changed, not all the original code. Now I can make a new style and make a new change. And I'll do this the easy way. I'll go to my text document, find the one that's called access menu header div menu, and just copy out the actual style code here. Then all I have to do is go to my developer tools, select an element, and find that same style. So if I click through here, I find div menu. I scroll down, and here's access menu header div menu. So if I hit enter here and add that code that I just copied, you'll see that the menu changed incrementally again, which is what I want, so that now it's jamming all the way to the left. And if I like that, I'll copy out the entire style here and go into Eclipse, paste it in, save it, reload the page. And now that's been implemented. If we just continue that process through the entire thing and copy out the rest of the code, you'll see that by the end, we have a menu that's starting to match the actual design. Of course, the color is off, but we can always change that later by simply selecting an element, finding the color, and changing it to something else. And when we get what we want, we simply copy out the code, paste it into Eclipse, save it, and continue working. So that's the process you're going to be working with when you do style coding. You find the element you want to change, you highlight it in developer tools inside your browser, then you make a change in the live code to make sure that your change actually does what you want to. And once you're satisfied it does, then you copy out that style code, paste it into your actual style sheet, save it, and reload the page and continue your work. That way, you'll end up with style code that does exactly what you want, and you save a lot of time doing it. Now, I said in the beginning of this movie that we were going to reset everything, and I meant that because if you are going to sit here and watch me restyle this entire site, it'll take forever. So instead, I've built a complete style sheet for you. If you go to your exercise files, you'll find a file called style.css. So we'll open that in a notepad. So I'll simply right-click on it, open with Notepad, and then copy out everything below the definition of the theme itself. So everything below this comment. I'll just use my keys here. So just go all the way down, copy it all, go back to your code editor, scroll to the top, and then take out all the changes we've made. So again, just scroll to the bottom and paste it in. Now when I save this, jump back to Chrome and reload the page, you'll see we now have almost the design we want. See, here's the menu with the green background, the header image. The sidebar is now in a box. And at the bottom, we have a box. Although it doesn't look exactly the same, it looks pretty close. So this is how far we get with just styles. The rest of this course, we're going to look at the actual content and changing it to make the site match the design exactly.